and I was working my cattle and all day in the corrals. I was tired, came home, went to bed, got up the next morning, and I couldn't even roll over on my own mattress. My fingers had turned into my palms. I had discomfort in every joint. I was miserable and I was scared. I thought I'd had a stroke, but I didn't know. But my wife finally helped me to my feet, to the car, went to the hospital, and 7 weeks later, I was diagnosed with an autoimmune disorder that really, Vera, just brought me to my knees. And so the doctor said, Leland, this is a very rare disorder. You probably never heard of it. And when he told me what it was, I just rolled my eyes. He said, you've heard of it? I said, my mom had it. And he said, well, how many children in the family? And I said, there's 5. And he said, well, you're the lucky one. She passed it down to you in genetics. Usually doesn't hit men till they're 72 years old.
How old were you then?
62.
Wow.
But he said, Leland, you're running 3 companies.
Yeah.
You're running wide open. You're not sleeping good. At 62, you're getting up 2 or 3 times a night and going to the bathroom. So you never get into that deep REM sleep that your body needs to recover from what you put it through every day. And he said, so I started on high doses of anti-inflammatories, pain medication. I went through all types of IV treatments to build my immune system back. I went gluten-free, sugar-free, alcohol-free, you name it. This boy went through it for 14 months. And at the end of that time, Vera, I wasn't any better. Matter of fact, I was worse because I'd become very depressed, which it's hard for me to talk about sometimes, being an athlete and a rancher and, raised around 4 boys. It's kind of
hard to imagine because you are such a full of life and enjoying life. Yes. Yeah.
So I didn't want to admit it because my dad on the farm, if we complained, he'd say, just put your big boy pants on and get over it. So I knew complaining wasn't an option. So I was pushing through it, trying to make it happen, and it just wasn't happening. And that's when my friend called me back. And he said, Leland, I know you're going through a tough time. I just don't understand why you'll take all those medications and all these treatments and you won't even try something that's non-toxic and can't hurt you, can only help you. I said, because I didn't study at med school. He goes, well, that's because you're old and this is new science. So I said, okay. So he sent me to PubMed.gov, where the doctors go to write their peer review articles. And that night I stayed up till probably 4 a.m. reading articles on these redox signaling molecules. And it gave me hope again, Vera. And I called my friend back and said, okay, I'm interested. I'm going to pursue it, to look at it. But if you want me to look at it, we have to fly out to the company where it is. He goes, what? And I said, I have to know that I know. It just seems too good to be true. And my dad always taught me when that's the case, usually it is. So I want to go. And we did. We flew out and I met the founder of the company. He ran a $37 billion division for craft food, very bright, one of the top 50 strategists probably in the country. And I went through their corporate office, but I wanted to go through their manufacturing plant because I had run manufacturing facilities with 150 employees. So I knew kind of what to look for. And I went, I'll have to be honest, with the purpose of proving that it wasn't real. It did seem too good to be true. But after being there, I don't impress very easy because I've been around big athletes and big businesses, but this company wowed me that day. I was in total shock with what I saw. The facility, you could eat off the warehouse floor, FDA approved, FTC approved plants. Unbelievable. And here they have a product with 30-something patents that nobody in the world has. And I was in the founder's office and there's a big hope chest in the corner overflowing with letters from people around the world that had got on this product and changed life. And I looked at a couple of those and I told them that day, I said, I've tried everything the medicine can throw at me. If this product works, I'm going to be your biggest cheerleader. That's what I told him. And he like, yeah. But the next week I was invited to a conference in Dallas at the Gaylord Hotel where they were having a big conference with this company. And I got there early. I wanted to sit at the front. I wanted to see everything that was going on. And I saw the leaders come across the stage and I saw testimonies from people. And I thought, man, they can't pay this many people to say this sort of stuff. This has got to be real. And I sat there with tears flowing down my face, just with hope. I still get emotional today, and it's been 7 years, but it brings that memory back where I was that day. I was hurting, and I was actually, hard for me to say too, but I was thinking some crazy things because I didn't want to live that way.
Yeah, because you didn't
Yeah.
see any way out of it. You
No.
put everything that was available into you, and it wasn't making progress. Yeah, it's a kind of hopeless stage of the life. I can imagine. And isn't it fascinating that this company leadership has the exact same effect on everybody? That we basically ended up in tears most of the time because it's so overwhelming. There's not so much kindness to be seen in the world.
I've never seen an ethos. I've never seen a company with the leadership that this company has. They truly care for us as people, and it shows in how they run the company. And, you know, when this company developed this product, immediately Big Pharma came at them and tried to purchase it for a very large amount of money.
Yeah.
And our founder turned them down. Who turns down that kind of money, that big amount of money?
And
Most people
at the
have any
stage of
money.
his life when he could really retire and just enjoy his family, right?
Yeah, he didn't even start this, I think, till he was 69.
Right.
And
But
developed.
I'm so sorry. What
No,
you were saying that you went to Dallas and see that at that point, were you already taking the product, or did it take you multiple visits to convince yourself to try?
I had just started because when I was out there, when I came home, I ordered product and it had just come in, and I started taking some of the product. I already felt it. I had more energy. But when you can't take the cap off a bottle of water, when you can't dress yourself or go to the bathroom without help, it was very much a humble pie for me with my background.
Yeah.
And if it wasn't for my wife, I don't know what I would have done. And I went and I sat on the front row, and as those stories came across, tears just flowed with hope that I had found this. I thought I was a distraction because I was constantly rubbing my eyes and sniffling. And I got up and left the meeting, went to the restroom, and I came back in and sat on the back row. It wasn't 2 or 3 minutes here, those tears coming in. It was just, I think it was so much joy that I'd found something that could help me because I had lost all hope.
Yeah.
And I'll say it again, I had lost all hope. This was a last ditch effort for me to try to reach out and help myself because I'd been through everything else. And that week, the first week, about 80% of my discomfort in my joints went away. In the second week, my depression had started lifting. My wife said I was fun to be around again. So I guess when you're hurting, you're not fun to be around. But in the third week, my hands began to open and close like they had 14 months prior. And in 90 days, I came off 3 medications that I had been on for 8 to 10 years for high blood and sugar levels and high uric acid levels. And at 9 months, I came off a machine because I snored at night. And so I just continued to see progress. And with my background in medicine, there's no way, Vera, that I could just sit still and not share this, what was happening to me. And I told my wife, I have to know. I was just going to take this product. I had no interest in the business side at all. I had 3 companies. I just wanted to get healthy, and I would have traded all of them for my health. I realized at that time that my health was my biggest asset. And if I didn't have it, I couldn't run my companies. I couldn't do anything I wanted to do. And raised on the farm, I was a meat and potato guy, just, with all the boys. I wasn't into really watching so much what I ate. I ate everything I wanted because I always burned it off in sports.
Yes.
But when you quit playing, your metabolism changes, and I started gaining weight. I went from 220 to 280. I'm 6'5", so it's wasn't feeling good about myself, and then that hit. So that's what happens when you don't take care of yourself. Things like this that's when things creep into your body that you don't want. And so that's where I was, and this product just continued to get better. And I made a list of 50 people that I knew from either playing sports with or working with at the company or sitting on the board at church or wherever. I knew people that were hurting. I went to the first 30 on that list, and I said, y'all all have seen me sick. They said, yeah. I said, but you look great now. What's going on? I said, it's this new product that I discovered, and I know you've got an issue. And I was just thinking, maybe it can help you like it helped me. I can't promise anything because it's not a drug, thank goodness, or that, you know, it's zero toxicity. Where do you find that? And native to your body. It's actually what you were born with. And I thought, wow. So I shared that with them, and guess what? My first 30 people said yes. And my first 30 people got results. And I knew then I had found and tripped on something pretty exclusive and exceptional that I had not seen when I was in the practice. And so that's where my journey started with this company. And I have just continued to reach out to people on a daily basis to say, you may or may not be interested, but I've got something that's changing lives all over the world. And we're in 33 countries right now. The company's debt free. I've never seen leadership like this. It's the whole package, and I think you should look at it.